Okay, Mako, you're on.
All right, thank you, Dr. Keeling, and hello, Howard students. My name is Mako Ngazimbi. I am a software development manager at Amazon Web Services, and I've been employed with Amazon for about 9 years. So I came to Amazon as a software development engineer, did that for about 4 years or so, and I've been in management for about the last 5 years. I am also a member of Amazon's Black Employee Network, or BEN, and that's my BEN T-shirt. The reason I was wearing this is I actually just got done doing a presentation to about 600 of our members globally, speaking about how to get promoted in tech. So we do a lot of things through what we call BEN Tech, which is our engineering community within BEN. And that includes things such as the Promo Dot Workshop. But the other thing that we like to do is working with college students, especially at HBCUs. So in my experience working with HBCUs, the most common ask that we get when we work on capstones is to come up with ideas that have a social impact on the Black community. And this idea that I want to pitch to you today is one that we've worked on in several schools and seems to be one of the more popular choices. So the proposal that I have is matching customers with minority-owned businesses. And I'll give a little bit of background on why this is important. So supporting minority-owned businesses is a useful method to address the racial wealth divide. In 2009, the median white household's wealth was $113,000 versus $5,000 for the median Black household. In November 2019, only 3 CEOs in the Fortune 500 were Black. None of those 3 were Black women. An income divide has also been observed, where Black men make $3.65 less per hour in the private sector and $2.85 less per hour in the public sector compared to white men. Growing minority-owned businesses helps address disparate unemployment, which for Black people was 9.9% in 2020 compared to 5.8% for white people. Members of the Black community may have needs that they wish to be addressed by Black businesses. For example, Black people may seek out Black-owned hairdressers who can address their hair texture needs when moving to a new city. Another example is when dealing with mental health concerns, Black patients may be more comfortable engaging a Black mental health professional who can more closely relate to their life experience. According to 2018 CDC data, non-Hispanic Black births suffer infant mortality at the highest US rate of 10.8 per 1,000 births, over double the mortality rate of non-Hispanic white births of 4.6. Hence, a pregnant Black mother may be more comfortable finding and engaging a Black doula who may be more keenly aware of these issues. Now, what are we proposing that we implement here to address these concerns of minority-owned businesses? Now, minority-owned businesses can be challenging to find. This project will create a web or a mobile app that will match prospective customers to existing minority-owned businesses. The solution will need to address 2 types of users. So 1, members of the public seeking to businesses, and business owners, 2, looking to be found. It should be possible to find a business via multiple methods. So that includes proximity to a user's current location, text keywords, product image, voice search, and recommendations based on search history or behavior. It should be possible to assign a rating for the business and create a text-based review to attach an image. Users should have the ability to post their business reviews on social media, and additional features can be added. These include the ability to register a business on behalf of an owner and the owner's ability to claim a business registered on their behalf. This project will require the implementation of specific workflows. These include user account creation, business generation, business registration, claiming business ownership, and flagging issues with business pages. There should be additional features available to business customers, and these include the ability to analyze business ratings over time, and one which I think is pretty interesting is sentiment analysis of reviews. User trust is an essential part of the app, and fraud detection and prevention will be a critical feature. The application should be able to allow flagging of fraudulent business users and reviews, and fraud detection can be human-driven and automated. The application should also provide recommendations to users on businesses in which they are likely to be interested. Now that's sort of the high level of it. Now, where I think this gets interesting is that because we work with AWS, we can offer these students AWS accounts with free credits. So you get to try out a whole bunch of really cool services that you can use to actually implement your project. And there are lots of interesting services that you may be interested in to make this actually work. So some of the interesting ones would include, of course, Elastic Compute Cloud, EC2, Simple Storage Service, or S3. You'll need to do some kind of authentication, authorization, or identity federation, which you can use Amazon Cognito. For your product images, you may want to have a content distribution network, of which Amazon CloudFront is available. And to actually have your front end communicate with the back end, you may need to use things such as Amazon API Gateway. And for your compute paradigms, there are lots of different options, not just Elastic Compute Cloud, but you can also use the ECS, so the Elastic Container Service, Elastic Kubernetes Service, or the hosted solution AWS Fargate, or serverless compute such as Lambda. There are also some really cool high-level services that can be offered. For example, for your sentiment analysis, we will offer you access to Amazon Comprehend. And if you decide to sort of go the extra mile and do voice analysis or text extraction or image identification, there's opportunities to use Amazon Lex or Amazon Textract, or Amazon Recognition, and so on. For those interested in machine learning, the opportunities there to use services such as Amazon SageMaker. Now, I know that at first glance, just hearing all these different terms in different fields of computer science that you might invoke to implement this project, it may seem a little bit overwhelming. The good news is, in BenTech, we partner with lots of different software development engineers who are members of the Black Employee Network, or BEN, such as myself, of which this semester we're fortunate to have 15 volunteers. And these are folks that I can offer who would attend the sessions with Howard University students every week and help answer any questions that you might have about the different pieces of technology. If for whatever reason the engineers on the call are unable to answer any of those questions, I'm very willing to go to Amazon and find an expert in that field and invite that person as a guest speaker to help with the implementation of this particular project. Now, the way that we've typically done this in the past is probably similar to what you all have done with capstones, where the recommendation would be to form groups of about 5 students. And within those 5, we would would give you sort of milestones to meet. So for example, this week, it might just be, all right, well, let's demonstrate that we can just create the skeleton of the app. Or maybe we just start much easier when we say, okay, just do mock-ups of what the app will look like, followed by, all right, can we demonstrate that we can deploy a web app that just allows you to authenticate and log in and log out. And then the next week, it's, can we actually register a business and so on. But the idea is, with this project that we've done before with our collective experience, we would have engineers on the call who can sort of guide you step by step. Something else that we've done very successfully with this project in particular is to create a Slack channel for asynchronous requests. So if you are unable to attend class that day, or maybe you don't feel comfortable speaking up in front of the whole class and asking a question, we have a Slack channel that we can create, especially for this, where you can ask your questions to the engineers at whatever time, and then they can sort of respond whenever to your question and help you sort of get them blocked and get moving and so on. In any case, I am very excited to work with you all, and happy to expand on this or answer any questions you might have about this pitch. But thank you very much for your time.
Well, we only have one student. Peyton, do you have any questions?
Yes, I do have a question. First of all, great presentation, and thank you so much for speaking with me today. You've mentioned earlier in the project that you've given this project out previously, right?
Yeah.
Other groups of students. What do you think are the biggest pain points that you see with this project? What are some gotchas that can come up? What are some snags that you've seen previously that have kind of been the biggest, pain points for other students for this project?
Yeah. So it's interesting because the gotchas we ran into were sort of the more unexpected things. So when we pitched this project last year to 3 schools, we followed a very free form approach where we said to the students, hey, session 1 for week 1, please just come up with your own milestones. And then based on those milestones, you will set what you want to actually deliver. You'll sit with your team and say, we think we can get this far. These are the features that we like to implement and so on. That turned out to be not the right direction to go. We found that when the students actually went to implement, the progress wasn't sort of consistent. It sort of was right at the end. All of a sudden, there's this mad rush to get things done in the last 3 weeks or so. I had to sort of think back to my own experience in college and remember that's exactly what I'd have done. So now we learned that the thing that we want to do is we'll come up with actual milestones and say, all right, week 2, please get to this point. Week 4, get to this point. Week 6, and so on. And probably space them every 2 weeks apart. So that was sort of a first learning. A second learning that we had is that even though we thought we had done a good job of linking to all the tutorials about the different technologies. So one technology which the students wanted to use because it turned out to be pretty easy is AWS Amplify. So AWS Amplify is a really great way to sort of spin up a web stack super quickly. You can set up a front end with it. You can set up a back end with authentication. You can attach the different functions you wanted to, like serverless compute such as Lambda, and you can attach storage to it, including DynamoDB or Aurora or S3, and you can attach a CDN and so on. We thought we had linked tutorials on how to do it, and we quickly realized that the students weren't actually watching them, so they were getting stuck. And then we realized further down the line, like 6 weeks in, that the way to unblock the students was we would actually plan to do a live demo like right away. So we did our live demo maybe in week 7 or 8, but we really should have done that just week 2, just straight up, just go in there week 2. We do our live demo, and then that way students asking questions, they can see how it works, they can see how quickly you can set up a web app, and then they also get excited to do that. So those are a couple of things, but I could go on, but I'll probably just stop there.
Definitely, absolutely. And one other question that I had, one final question that I had was, you mentioned, and that's what I think is really awesome about this project is the fact that we can utilize the AWS services. We can use the EC2, the S3 services that you mentioned as well. Is there any prerequisite knowledge into that? Like, should we know about the services? Should we know different programming languages? What would you say are some prerequisites that would best allow us to, hit the ground running if we were going to do this project?
Yeah, I would say that the bar doesn't need to be spectacularly high with this. At a bare minimum, you have some familiarity with a programming language. It doesn't actually matter what that is. So if you know Python, you know some Java, it really doesn't matter, to be honest. Node, JavaScript, whatever it is, that's a good starting point. Everybody's here to learn. So even if you don't know something, you're going to learn something. If you don't know, we're going to help you figure it out. But that's at a bare minimum. The other things that sort of help to give you a good foundation is understandings of different concepts in not only distributed computing, but just software engineering in general. So the application of computer science. When is it appropriate to use a multi-tier architecture? When is it appropriate to use storage? One that you can query, or maybe the one that's key value based. So it might help to sort of have those high level concepts in your head. Even if you've never applied them, this is a great place to come in and apply those concepts. So I'd say at a minimum that's really sort of what you need. Oh, Dr. Keeling, I think you're on mute.
Yeah, that was a great explanation. I like the pitch. So thank you so much. I'm going to put this video online, hopefully later today. And the students who were not able to attend, which I don't exactly understand. So maybe, Peyton, did you get a notice that classes were canceled today?
Yes. I did. Howard sent an email saying that the classes were canceled. So I think that's why everyone thought that they were canceled and didn't show up, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's very strange because yesterday about 2:45, I got an email to the faculty saying the faculty are expected to conduct their classes, and particularly those that do not require students to be on campus and subject to the Wi-Fi being down. And so senior project, you guys are all home, obviously. And so, or at least in your apartments. And I felt like everybody would show up, but nevertheless, it's okay. That's why we record things. We'll work this out next week. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and stop the video, certainly to save myself some editing.